Holy crap, now that was a close one. That one was really, really tight. And so if you notice, with one of the runs previously, I actually had the timer on there. And that was, we'll talk about that here in a second. But the top three, Gary Buxton, Matt House, and Sean Carr. These names are sounding familiar, aren't they? Those guys tend to be at the top of the heap always. So, anyways, but Gary's time was blazing fast, and surprisingly, he got to the wood last. Sean Carr got to the wood first, then Matt House got to the wood, then finally Gary Buxton got to the wood. I do believe Gary Buxton was running a 064, or it could be a steel 650. I think it could be. But anyways, his time blazing fast, 9.522. Matt House was 9.983, and then Sean Carr was 10.222. Matt was running a 181. I believe he got that 181 from me. That's the one that I purchased when I was back home in Kentucky, and I didn't really know what to do with it because I already had a 281 built by Pat Cajun, and so I was like, I don't know. And Matt offered to buy it from me, and he did. So I think that's the one. Anyways, so let's see. Let's go ahead and give a shout out for the top 10. Okay, so Gary Buxton, Matt House, Sean Carr, Kenny Freeman. Kenny was running a 500i. I believe a ported 500i by Charlie Briscoe. I believe that's what Kenny was running. Brennan Cass, not sure what Brennan was running. I think maybe it was like a 462 or something. Not sure. Tanton Rosenkrantz, I'd have to go back through. I'm not sure what he's running. Then number 7 was Joe. Joe had a 650, steel 650. Gary Barker, Charles Briscoe. And this was the race to watch, because Charles Briscoe was running an MS 400, a 67cc saw. That thing was ripping. Okay. And then number 10 was Jeff Stegall. And I'm not sure what Jeff was running. I think maybe a 500i as well. But anyways, there's two really notable races. And one is the one that I put the timer on just because that is Brad Snelling. And if you're a fan of these chainsaws like I am, you've probably ran across some of Brad's older videos. Brad has a channel on YouTube called Snellerized Garage, I think. Snellerized. But basically, he's one of the first guys to really bring chainsaw porting into the modern era, and start delving into it and finding things out. Big hats off respect to Brad Snelling. Him and Randy Evans, Mastermind, they were among the two that started actually telling the world how to port chainsaws. I do believe Tree Monkey was in there as well. Not sure what his name is. But yeah, early, like around 2010 time frame, those guys really started hitting it hard and started figuring out cool stuff to do with chainsaws, and not just simply base gasket delete and hog out all the ports. Real work. And what is the reason I put a timer on his is because he cut out, and I wanted everybody to see what he would actually have gotten had he not cut out. And now, yeah, he did cut out, and so his chain was going easier, but this is as close as we can get. If he hadn't cut out, we can look at it. I think his time was 10.17, and that would have put him in third place. But he did cut out, so Sean Carr gets third place. The other thing to look at is Charles Briscoe's 10.9 second run with his MS 400. Now that MS 400, I ran it, and here's the way that I would put it. If I was wanting to race in a 70cc and under class, or even 72cc and under class, yeah, that might be the saw to pick, because it was fast. Well, it beat Ethan Trainor's Dolmar 7900 that I believe he ported, and everybody knows Ethan knows what he's doing. And he had a good run. He didn't mess up, right? Charlie beat him. All right, Charlie had a good run, and he didn't mess up either. But Indiana Doug was running his Dolmar 7900 that I believe was ported by Kevin Levanaway, and everybody knows he knows what he's doing. He doesn't screw up. He makes good saws, and Doug had a good run. He didn't screw up. Charlie still beat him in a 67cc saw that only weighs like 12 or 13 pounds. So, boy, it's starting to, boy, this happens to me, doesn't it? Anyways, that MS 400 that Charlie built was pretty damn rocking. However, and Charlie will say the same kind of thing with this, I would not want to use that chainsaw as a firewood saw. I would not want to do it. Just because it puts you in a precarious situation. The saw is lightweight. It feels like a 60cc saw, but it's got the power of an 80cc race saw. It had, my 281 XP Bobby Boucher only had a 12-second run. Okay, it didn't even make top 10, and we all know that is a powerful saw. Okay, there was a 500i that was right behind me, ran by Eric, and my 281 beat the 500i. So for a 60cc saw to put out that much power, you don't want to work it. It just, because if you're not full on the trigger, it doesn't quite run right. So you're required, pretty much required, to be 100% on the trigger. And when you're 100% on the trigger, then and you got a 20-inch bar or even a 24-inch bar, you go through the wood so fast that it gets precarious and you're going to hit stuff on the other side. See what I'm saying? It's just, it was awesome. But would I want to use that saw as an actual work saw? No. And neither does Charlie. Charlie, I mean, it's fun to pull out and run. You know what I mean? It is. It's fun to pull out and run, and it's impressive, and it's a showcase for sure. But to take it and use it on the job, I'd much rather have a 620, a ported 620, because, I don't know, it's just more controlled. That damn 400, lightweight and cut like a rocket ship. So those are the two races to look at if you want to go back, or well, I mean, two extra races to look at because they were really good. What happened to Bobby Boucher? Why didn't Bobby Boucher get better times? Plain and simple. Other saws were faster. I mean, it was just, yeah, that's the way it goes, you know. I had a good run, good solid run, got to the wood on time. Had a good fresh C83 chain on there. Everything was good. The one thing that I can look at and go, it got cold. And, you know, here, my saw, I had it set up for 70 degrees, maybe 75 degrees. But there, it was 45 degrees. I could have probably ran a better time if I had richened up my mixture a little bit. Or not my mixture, just air-to-fuel ratio. If I had just given it a little bit more high jet, I probably would have had a bit faster time. But still, would I have made top 10? I don't know. I was like 2.27 seconds, something like that. Or, I'm sorry, 12.27 seconds. And, you know, I'm looking at the time right now. Jeff Stiegel, he ran under 11. So would I have been able to catch him? I don't know. But that's the way it goes. And that wraps up all of the real chainsaw classes. And now next up we will go to either the MS 170 or the Wild Thing class. I don't know. But yeah, there you go. Good job to everybody that placed, and really, really good job to everybody who placed well in all of these classes at Sawfest. I said it beforehand, and I'll say it again. Just simply getting in the top 10 is impressive. I think that I would have, I don't know, would I have made it into the top 10 if I hadn't had a blunder in my 55cc class? I don't know. But people were coming to win this one. I mean, the names that I'm looking at right now, to compete with those names: Gary Buxton, Matt House, Sean Carr, Brennan Cass, Ken Freeman, Tanton Rosenkrantz, Joe Harkness, Gary Barker, Charles Briscoe, and Jeff Stiegel. Jeff is a new name to me, but he did great. He actually won the overall. But just to be able to break top 10, you were doing something with guys like that. So, again, hats off to everybody. Thank you very, very much to all of the Sawfest crew that allowed us to get together and put on this event for everyone. It's so good. It's so good. You won't find a better chainsaw event. I don't think. I don't think you will. I mean, I've been to a handful of them at this point. Nothing even comes close to Sawfest. Sawfest is so good, and I think the reason it's so good, yeah, it's a great group of guys and everything, but it's not that. All right, the Alabama race that I go to is a great group of guys. I really like them. They're cool. All right, but they're full tilt race saws, and the average guy can't compete. I'm going to go again this year. It's happening next weekend, and I'm going to go and I'm going to be better competition than I was last year. However, I'm going to suck. I'm going to be last place, you know. And I've got really great saws. I mean, I'm not going to win a single race unless somebody screws up, you know. So the difference between something like Sawfest being just a firewood class race versus a pro level event. I mean, the pro stuff is fun, but firewood. I really feel like everybody should change their rules. The pro racers, the idea that they can run nitro and all this stuff. Well, what it does is it immediately makes it an exclusive event, which is good if you're one of the exclusive people that can run in it, but it's bad if it's bad for numbers. You know, if you want something to be fun and enjoyable that people can all come out to, you got to be able to include them. And there's no way that you're going to win a pro race unless you're at bare minimum running methanol. But honestly, you're not going to be able to win unless you're running nitro. You know, nitromethane. And to be able to do that, well, you're top of the class then. Oh, and also have a full tilt race chain, you know. So I really like how Sawfest does it, and I do like how they are dipping our toes into the water slowly with a saw, the 361, that is affordable, right? That's a clone saw, 361. It's affordable. We can afford to make mistakes on that saw. It is also easy to build. It's not like the cheap saw challenges that have the limitations of a clamshell, right? So the MS361 responds well to upgrades. So it's easy to build. It's a pro grade construction, and it's cheap because it's a clone saw. And you're dipping our toes into this world of higher performance. I dig it. Thank you again. I've talked way too much. This is the third video today, and look at this. My voice is going out on me. Later, guys.